Well, it's really good to be back in Montana. My beautiful wife is from here. And, we're flying in here and we're looking out the windows and she's saying, hey, I recognize that place, and hey, I recognize that place. And she looks over at me and she takes my hand and she goes, honey, if we ever have to move out of Alaska, like if they're just putting too much pressure on us and we have to run, let's go here. Yeah! And the pilot says it's 34 degrees in Hamilton, Montana. It was 65, 24 hours of sunlight when we left, and she turns to me and she's like, well, maybe, But I think Missoula might have changed a little too, She says, so anyway, she was backpedaling a little bit there. But we're glad to be here. Now, we just want to take, 10 minutes here before everybody goes to lunch and touch on a few things. You guys all know what we've been doing in Alaska. You guys are all aware of all the movement and the shaking that's happening there? Who's not aware? Raise your hand. Well, there's a lot of spiller in this crowd, man. You're either aware or not aware. Who's all been paying attention to what's been going on in Alaska with the militia and the common law court and the Liberty Bell and all that stuff? Okay, good. You guys know enough. All right. Free speech. No problem. You usually don't get your tail in the crack with that. But you stop speaking and you start doing, and they start responding. And that's what's been happening. Now, we've just had tremendous success. Because what we did is we didn't try to change the politicians. We didn't try to get, even though we don't have sheriffs, we didn't try to get our sheriffs on board. The only people that we dealt with was ourselves. Was with the people who understood, because the only person that you can change is you. And so you need to be yourself, what you have been asking others to be. And we took that philosophy and we just implemented it. We didn't ask permission, we just did it. And it worked, and it was awesome. And we've achieved some really great stuff. And we've stopped them from doing a lot of things, and we didn't even ask them. Just the fact that we're there stopped. Now, for the most part, and when I was here in December, the report was that they were just standing down and leaving us alone. And that pretty much held true for about two and a half, maybe 3 years. When it started to go national, and this philosophy started to catch on, I started to get more well-known around the country and even around the world. I mean, the Irish Republican Army, the terrorist group, wants me to come speak to them in Ireland, and traveling around the country and so making more waves. Then that's when the opposition starts coming. Now, that's what we just want to talk to you about just for a second, because you guys need to know. Now, another position that a lot of people will take in politics is that your personal life is none of anybody else's business. That's not true. If you're in a position of leadership, you live in a glass house. And so your personal life is everyone else's business. And if you're not okay with that, you need to do something else. You need to just help or something like that. And that's fine. But debunk that myth. So anyway, my wife Marty and I are here to reassure you that all of the trash talk that you guys have been hearing is just that. It's politically driven speculation and empty accusations that can't be, substantiated or stick. And there's 3 goals in that, okay? And if you want to understand the intricacies of what we're dealing with, you need to read Saul Alinsky's book, Rules for Radicals. It's dedicated to Lucifer on the first page, and it's a down-and-dirty little field guide for wielding political power in an age that is devoid of conscience and scruples and morality. And there's 3 main points here that from the opposition that we've been getting, just so you understand where it's all coming from. And it's the same crew. If you took the list of names that have been attacking me and Marty and our family just on a really personal level over the past 2 months, 2-3 months, it's the same list of names that attacked Sarah Palin, and they did it the exact same way. Now, I might be the front runner in Fairbanks, but I'm definitely not the Lone Ranger. And I've got a lot of wise counsel and a lot of people helping me out, all the officers in the militia. most trusted advisors, and we weren't, surprised by any of this. Here's the 3 goals. Number 1 is to ruin your good name. Well, first let me tell you what happened. In early March, this big accusation that Marty and I got in a big fight, and I tried to kill my wife and stuff like that, and all these big charges, felony assault, going to prison for 2 years, all this stuff. I got arrested, and the cops and the press were coming to the house at the same time, and some cop down at the cop shop called me, like, hey man, you better get out of there. They're going to make a big deal and do your dirty thing out of there. Down there. They let me go right away. The militia was all in the hubbub because they knew it was just a political arrest. That didn't stick too bad. But here's these 3 objectives. First is to ruin your good name. All right. Now we countered that preemptively in Fairbanks by forecasting this for the past 2.5 years. Every time we had a meeting like this, I don't think they're going to shoot me. I don't think that they're going to throw me in jail because that would start a war here. Although they did do that to Joe Roper, who was kind of my predecessor. They shot him in the 90s. But anyway, I think there's too many people on board now to do that to me. But I wouldn't do that. So first is to ruin your good name. So we forecasted, a character assassination. That's the most effective way to disband and disperse something that's catching a lot of steam. It's a character assassination. The second thing, and this is where they really got Sarah Palin good, they nailed her good, was to drain all of your money and all of your resources and get you to expend all of that in court, in their court. The court that we don't even recognize, this joke of a political law court, which I talked about when I was here last in December. And then the third thing is to drain all of your time. Because if they can't lock you up in prison, they'll tie you up in court and get you to stop doing what you're doing. And we knew this was coming. And so when it hit, there was no like big surprise. The first one, which was you attacked your wife and tried to kill her. Strangled your wife. That one just didn't stick. The people in Fairbanks, they didn't buy it. So they got off of that one. 2 weeks later, I got arrested on a Liberty Bell call. Never been arrested before. Nobody else has ever been arrested. We do these all the time. Nobody ever gets arrested. Cop comes up to me, says, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm just observing, taking notes, And he goes, do you have any ID on you? You don't have to show me ID, so I never do. But I said, I have a .380 pistol in my pocket, because I always do. And that's totally legal. He says, okay. He just starts patting me down, whatever. Puts my hands behind my back and puts handcuffs on me. Second time I've ever been arrested. You guys, every one of you needs to go to jail. It is a good experience, okay? Everybody should do it. And just go see who we're dealing with. So, puts my hands behind my back. And I said, am I under arrest? And he goes, yeah. And I said, what for? He goes, oh, I don't know, I gotta go look up some laws. And two of you guys get in the car, let me go. And no charges really, nothing, nothing until they went to the arraignment. And this is where they tip their hand, okay? The DA requests the judge to make a condition of my release that I can't hold any public meetings, that I can't operate the Liberty Bell, that I can't do any public speaking, and that I can't hold any more political rallies, and I can't have any weapons. That's what this is about, because that's what he asked. The higher-ups in the system in Alaska are being undermined by what we're doing. Their system of tyranny is being eclipsed by the ideas of liberty, and they are fighting like a drowning man or a wounded bear. Okay? So.